Alumna of IIMC and Indiana University, her work is a shining example of impact-driven leadership rooted in compassion and vision. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Madam with a big round of applause. Please keep clapping when the Madam is coming to the stage.
Is there light? Enough light. To read. Yeah, I should be okay, but that's okay. I'll try. Huh?
We would love to have it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's for me.
This is better.
No, no.
Okay, better. Namaskar, respected Executive Vice President, Dean, ED here, distinguished faculty members of RGU, Royal Global University. Thank you very much for inviting me and to give me this privilege of addressing the young minds at Deeksharambh. And a very good afternoon to each of these young minds, the dreamers, the doers, and the change makers of tomorrow. Today marks not just the start of your academic journey, it's the beginning of discovering who you are, or what you believe in, and what you're capable of becoming. When I look at you, I don't just see students. I see energy, ideas, and the power to shape your own future, and even that of the region, of this country and this world. Each of you have the power to create change in your communities, in your profession, and the world around you. And change doesn't always have to start big. It starts in the classrooms. It starts in conversations and in the choices you make every single day. So today I want to share with you lessons from my life, not just about my life, but the lessons that I've learned in the University of Life. And believe me, I'm still learning. So let me share with you 10 of my life lessons, and I hope it helps, and to carry on from there. So lesson 1, I thought, was have a dream, own it, and work for it. You know, when we had a dream, my husband and I, when we brought in tourists to the jungles of Assam and our God-gifted land 35 years ago, and we called it Jungle Travels India. The 8 states of the Northeast, then 35 years ago, was shrouded in mystique. It was landlocked. Nobody knew about us. Nobody cared. But we believed in our region, and we saw the potential of tourism to be able to be an economic game changer for our peoples. So we set up shop from the wing of a small residential home with a monthly rental of 1,000 rupees and 2 staff in 1989. Today, we are the JTI group with different travel verticals and a 300-member team. So it's possible to dream and carry on, and you continue to grow in that. The lesson 2 is, whatever you do, do it differently. That's how you create space when none probably existed before. So in the travel business, let me tell you about that small story of how we started. We were quick to discover that tourism was a seasonal business. It was October to April. What do you do the rest of the time? So we turned to air ticketing. And there was only Indian Airlines. You all would know that time it was a monopoly. There was no other airlines that one could fly in. And it was very difficult to get that agency. So what do? Instead of waiting for our time to get that agency, we became what was probably the first sub-agents in Assam. So we took tickets from another agency and we started servicing the client. And to our surprise, the clients didn't care where the tickets came from. All they wanted was customer service and they wanted customer care. So that was a lesson learned. Do it passionately and do it sincerely, and your customers will be there for you. So then we saw, and then our lesson 3 was that when we got into this ticketing, we saw there was another gap in the market, and then you find a way to solve it. What we found, We got the Indian Airlines agency. We became domestic ticket operators. And then we saw international. The whole of the Northeast, 8 states of the Northeast, used to go to Delhi or to Calcutta to issue their international ticket. Even to reissue a ticket, there was nothing here. So that really took us by surprise, and we realized it was a very closed world. The Northeast really was psychologically, physically closed off from the world, and they stayed in their own little cocoon. And everyone, the agents were all happy to go to Calcutta to issue the international ticket through another agent in Delhi or Calcutta. But it was a very closed world. And we found that we could penetrate that world only when in 1994, we were a very young company, but American Express Travel Services, they wanted to start an office in the Northeast to service their card clients. And we were very young then, but they came to us and they made us a sole representative. With that link, we could go for training, and the doors finally opened. And the Lufthansa Airlines gave us the training. So my husband and I took that training in Lufthansa Airlines, came back, and we got that accreditation, which today has opened up the doors of the Northeast. When all the airlines thought, they came to know that there was a world beyond West Bengal and a whole Northeast region behind. So we take great pride in that. When 1996, we became the first IATA agent. So for the number, I would say the fourth lesson I would like to leave is that you must also challenge the status quo, and especially when people say it can't be done. So we questioned that, we got the IATA. So lesson 4 is the status quo which remains, that we looked at the Brahmaputra River, for instance. They were sailing in these rivers in our waters before independence, but they had all died down. And it was confirmed that this river was unnavigable. It wasn't possible, simply cannot be done. Everyone laughed at us, no bank would touch us, nobody would come forward. But we persisted, we believed in our dream, and with the first joint venture, Indo-British joint venture, we started a company called Assam Bengal Navigation Company, and we started the first long-distance river cruising on the Brahmaputra in 2003. That opened up not only Brahmaputra, but it opened up India on the international tourism map. So it's possible that a small, homegrown company like ours could challenge the status quo and could create a demand in the international market. And from there, we grew from 1 ship to 4 ships since 2017. International players have entered the market. We have opened up a new positioning in the economy and in tourism and for the country. So that is what everything is possible, even from this corner of the North. It is possible to make a difference to your country. Lesson 5, be open to new market opportunities. Now we talk about the Manas National Park. You know, it's a World Heritage Site like Kaziranga. India has 5 World Heritage Sites. Manas and Kaziranga are right here in Assam. But no tourists would go there because of insurgency. So in 2004, we took the chance and leased a 16-room government lodge from Assam government. Nobody had ever stayed there except the CRPF because it was closed for 20 years. We opened it up, we restored it at great cost, and opened up Manas to the first batch of foreign tourists in 2004. And since then, it's been a win-win for that region. It's a different point that after 15 years, our lease was over and Assam government didn't give it back to us. However, we're coming up with our own resort in 2 years' time. But we opened up, and we're very proud of the fact that Manas is now open to tourism, strong domestic tourism, a lot of resorts, lodges, a lot of employment generation has taken place. Our own people who we had trained in Manas are today self-employed or working with very big companies. So that's the essence of tourism. You see, it's not just the business I'm talking about. It's about human lives, it's communities, lives you're touching, and so many improve along the way with that. So that is why tourism is so special for our region. 6th point, I would say, you must also champion a cause in your life like we did. Champion a cause. What was our cause? It was sustainable and responsible tourism. Since when we started, 1989, we were consciously promoting the high-value, low-volume form of tourism. It's not mass tourism. It's people who would appreciate, be respectful of the environment, respectful of your cultures, and we be able to show them how our people live in the way they live, in the traditional ones, without displacing our people, without displacing them from their homes and their habitats, and disrupting their natural rhythm of their lives. In 2008, in Kaziranga National Park, which is the other World Heritage Site, we opened our Difflu River Lodge, and that was very different for its times. I'm talking about 22 years ago. It became the first certified eco-lodge of the Northeast. It's consciously built on ecotourism principles, and it's thatch and mud, and built by the simple vernacular architecture of the missing tribal homes, which was very unusual for those times. I'm happy to know and see that now a lot of the hospitality business is adopting the mud and thatch, which people thought was quite crazy those days. But that was what the tourist wants. That is what the overseas guests who come. They see enough 7-star, 5-star Hyatts and Marriotts and other properties around the world. But what does Assam have? This is how we live. This is our way of life. That is the true experiential tourism that people aspire for. And perhaps for this very reason, we had the British royals, Prince William and Princess Catherine, who stayed with us for this novelty of this experience. And when we talk about this, we must always, I cannot emphasize enough, that in the Northeast, for our human resources and our natural resources, our mud, thatch, bamboo, our people, our natural and human resources, we are so rich, we are so God-gifted. All we need is to handle them properly, respectfully, and be able to showcase what we already have in a beautiful manner and in a sustainable manner. So that is what helped. And the women, the men along the communities, not just the direct employment, but indirect employment. And so many benefit. Even we take them for the walks, the women on the fields, the men in the handicraft or in the paddy. Our guests love to enjoy. These are immersive experiences. So when you go out and live your lives, be as authentic and natural as possible. People want to see that. We don't need to see what the rest of the world or how they live. This is how we are, and believe me, people appreciate us for this beautiful land and people that we are from. So everyone benefits in tourism is what I would like to live here, and I'm happy to see that the new form of tourism, the new practitioners of tourism in the Northeast now should continue to follow this path. We must carry the communities along with us every time. So lesson 7, I would say. I also thought that I was very involved in tourism. It was my lifeline. But along the way, you know, I had to look for new horizons, and that is what happened when FICCI Flow happened, the women's wing of FICCI, which is the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I don't know if you all are aware of that. So they were starting their Northeast chapter, and that was in 2007. But I was so busy with my work, I said, I have no time for social service. But I came in as their founder, vice chairperson in 2007, and that forced me to look at women outside the tourism circle. And we always are given a national mandate. And the FICCI Flow mandate that time was female feticide. But we are from the Northeast, we don't have that problem. So we had to decide what is our problem. And what was our problem? It was human trafficking. Our women were being sent out. They were being trafficked because of lack of opportunities of employment and of poverty in the rural areas. That was when I discovered, I went to the shelter home for trafficked women in Guwahati and met this NGO Gold. I saw he had a lot of looms, a lot of women, but nobody was weaving, nobody knew. Then Central Silk Board came to help. I mean, I'm mentioning this just that it's possible to put 2 and 2 together and get people together to help you in this ecosystem. Central Board stepped in. They gave us a female weaver, a trainer, master trainer. She stayed for 2 years, and she had batches of these trafficked women to be rehabilitated. So they've gone out with a skill in their hands and economic earnings, economic skill set and skill in their very hands. And they didn't have to look twice to be able to earn a living. And from then to now, it's so good to see so many young city-bred and village-bred entrepreneurs who have come forward in the handloom sector, working with their own looms, employing so many women. So that is why handloom will always be a sustainable livelihood for us. And all we need is a skill set. And if any of us can impart it, we should continue. Each of us can make a difference. So with that, I would say that I found that it was possible. It really was, and I learned something new. And I got in nilly-willy into the handloom sector, which is really never on my horizon at all. So this is what I say, that new horizons also brought in new business opportunities if you are open enough to see them, and that applies to your lives as well. So though I did that for Fiki Flow, I also started my own weaving community. I started building up. I had this young weaver who was so enthusiastic. I wanted to encourage her. She would go to the villages with the better yarn, better quality, cotton, to weave and to give me back the product, and I would pay her. And so there was a rural livelihood at their very doorsteps. They were earning, we were earning as well. So with that, we tried to, so my first manager, weaver, really, her name is Anjali. She's still with me today. She's now the manager of I put up the Residential Weavers Center in 2011 in Kaziranga. So next to it, it's now called Lahe Looms. And one thing led to the other. It became a textile tourism sort of a circuit. Our visitors who live in Diflu would love to be able to spend time and look at how the handloom takes place and appreciate why this laborious task of creating these beautiful, fabrics that you and I take so much for granted are being made by our women and our men as well, weavers. So it also started organically. It also organically became a skilling center. Though I don't have an NGO or anything, we had a lot of women who came forward in Kaziranga wanting to come and learn, women who were married in there. So they got trained, they got encouraged, and a lot of them are also working with us. So that's the sustainable livelihood, and we have carried on with them. And while I was at that, there was another gap I saw in the market, and we've always been conscious about it. As a tourism practitioner since 1989, guests coming from all over the world, there was only Fancy Bazaar with mekhla sadors, which the guests wouldn't wear. Foreigners overseas wanted something else. But there were no, decent products from the Northeast, which was really, we could proudly showcase. And instead of grumbling about it and talking about it, we said, okay, we plunged into it. No retail background whatsoever, nothing. But we started speaking with these artisan clusters. Till today, since 2008 to now, we have at least 3-4 Northeast states who are consistently supplying. So we consistent supply chain and chain management with them and consistently pay them on time. And they are thriving, we find. So that was what was started as the cognac then, is now the Lahe Looms. And our people are still there. We've had to go on to make our grassroots platforms. We have in the Brahmaputra Heritage Center and in Chanmari today. But whatever you find there, they're only done by our own people. We've been very sure that whatever you build, you cannot make it or weave it in Banaras or Kuch Bihar and give it to me. It has to be by Northeast. It has to be, but who is it? So where is the place of origin? That's very important also. Now there's a new app where you put it on their loom and you know the place of origin. Because now with this invasion of, we have this problem with our spurious gamchas anyway, but the sadors and mekhlas coming across the border from Kuch Bihar and all, that we can annul. If you are conscious, we are conscious citizens, we can look for that tag which is there now. It'll come out with your whatever is woven, that this is the place of origin. So Assam must get that. We must fight for those rights. So we also thought that when we talk about this, it's also very important for the world to know that this is such a beautiful, unusual place and a God-gifted land. But the stories are not going out enough, were not going out. And now it's a lot better, of course. But I wanted to take the ethos of, wherever possible, take the ethos of Northeast to the world, to the center stage. I had that opportunity, so I took it. So in my, I raised the awareness for sustainability. We spoke about sustainability a lot. When I got the chance to be at the center, I only talked about sustainability. And then COVID hit us when I turned president in 2020, and sustainability became the mantra. Suddenly people were noticing, yes, sustainability is what we must do. Remain in your areas, do your work, see that your communities gain, you gain, and you can everyone can thrive along with that. So it's good for the environment, it's good for all of you, for the people, profit, and your own places. So I always believed that tourism and the handloom is the sustainable livelihoods for our people, especially for women in the Northeast. You know, tourism is one of the largest employers in the world. In India, 12% of India's total employment is in tourism. By 2029, as many as 53 million in the country jobs are expected to spin out of tourism. But where were the women in this? A large chunk, and it's not only for India, but larger parts of the world. The women are in the lower rung. They are the informal economy. They are the unmonetized. They're the hardworking, silent, unmonetized sector, which are in a seasonal pay and the lowest level in the tourism sector. And I've always been very cognizant of that fact. So lesson 10, I said you have to leverage whatever position you're in for a greater good. Whatever role you find yourself in, as an entrepreneur, as an artist, as an officer, use it not just for yourself, but to uplift others along with it. So in 2007, when I was the founder, vice chairperson of FLOW, I leveraged my position to work for women in handloom. And in 2020, when I became the national president of FICCI, we had 18 chapters. When we started in 2027, we were just 8 chapters. And 2020, when I became the 37th national president of this organization, we were 18 chapters. And I leveraged that position to talk about women in tourism, especially women in tourism, women of the Northeast. So we signed an MOU with the Ministry of Tourism. And for the first time, I was from the FICCI, and I had another president from the Travel Agents Association of India. Both of us signed a joint MOU with the Ministry of Tourism to speak of women in tourism as a sustainable livelihood. And what did that mean? We asked the ministry to support us in upskilling, in certifying and empowering women to be gainfully integrated from the informal economy into the formal economy. And only then would they get the due fruits of this industry. So that was, the whole concept papers was gone through. We were working towards it, but COVID hit us so hard that we couldn't go forward or beyond, but it's still very much there with the ministry and with us. This is an initiative which is very close to our hearts and which we will continue to work towards. Now in our different avatars, because now, since both of us are ex-presidents, but we're still talking to the ministry, we are still very hopeful of pushing this through and getting this training. Certified SOP, standard operating procedures for women in the informal economy so that they are merged into the formal economy and benefit from tourism. So that is something is an ongoing dream for me. But now in my new avatar now, I'd like to speak about the women of the Northeast in the handloom sector, because the Northeast really, it is the backbone of our handloom and our sericulture. Close to 70% of people are women. It's never talked about in handloom or in sericulture. Our rural women, they've all been doing this, and for millennia now. So they are the custodians of our tradition. They are keeping anything. Another thing which we must talk about is our intangible, our cultural heritage. That is our women who are keeping it alive through the years, through the millennia. And we must celebrate that. And I want to use my voice to speak more about them, not in Assam, but beyond our borders, and talk about it. So that is my ikigai now, of my passion to give back, my pride in my region, and my purpose of mentoring young women, anytime I can in my own small way. So what I ask of you is that what will be your story? You won't have all the answers today, but you must start thinking about it. What moves you? What problem do you want to solve for your society, for your region? What kind of change do you want to be part of? And finally, my dear young friends, be proud of your roots. Be respectful of your parents, your teachers, and your peers. Inculcate discipline. Live with passion. Lead with compassion. Wherever life takes you, remember, you're carrying the stories, the strength, and the soul of the Northeast. You should carry it with pride. And always remember, you are an ambassador of this region. It will be your time and your turn. Be always proud of where you come from. And regardless, relentless in where you're going. Don't give up. You must keep trying. Nothing comes easy in life. Hang in there. Keep trying. And because the world is waiting to hear your story told in your voice. Thank you.
Anyone, do you have any question to ask? You may ask now. Questions? Any questions?
Okay, students, if you want to interact closely with ma'am, you can please share your opinion, your thoughts, your ideas, right? So that you can get guidance. This is the time where we try to connect you with, personalities of eminence, right? So that you can get idea to your life's goal as well. So if you have any question, any thought you want to share, please feel free. This platform is open for your expressions, and you can speak in a language that we all can understand, okay? Hindi, Assamese, English, right? So feel free, come over your hesitations and open up.
Yeah. No, even voice. Okay, somebody wants to talk, yeah? Yeah, of course.
Hello.
I'm talking about young men and women.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Afida Julfi, 5th semester BAJMC. First of all, thank you, ma'am, for your words. Your journey is very inspiration for us. Ma'am, my question is, every successful journey, there is a one inspiration. What's your inspiration?
My inspiration, my inspiration was my region. I was very, I was very cognizant of the fact that, for instance, the IATA case, I'll tell you. I used to go to Calcutta, and I was told that, oh, the Northeast people are so simple. They come with bags of money, and they just buy the ticket. And I used to wait there and think, wait a minute, you mean there's no international ticketing there? I said, no. So why not? And that was before we had got into the travel sector. Because I was from a totally different line. And then we started jungle travel, then inbound, outbound. We got the agency, and then we found this out. So it was that, I think mine was more like a challenge to question. And challenge to give to my region what wasn't there. That was, I think, what moved me. And that was what was always our thing. It was, J.dot koribo paribo lage. J to thakibo lagibo. J hobo lagibo. Aru bhabibo lagibo manhor kotha, nijor dekhor kotha. If you feel proud about it, and you must have that zid as well.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a question for you.
Tell me.
The thing is, you being from this region, কোনটো ইণ্ডাষ্ট্ৰীৰ কাৰণে ডেভেলপ কৰা এতিয়া সবতছে বেছি মানে মেম ভাল ফিউচাৰত ভাল মেম ৰাস্তা আছে ফৰ ডেভেলপমেণ্ট ইন স্পেচিয়েলি ইন দ্য এণ্টাৰপ্ৰেনাৰ সেকশ্যন?
I'm telling you, you just have to be honest, authentic, You know, the world wants to come to you. Northeast, you all are so lucky that people know so much about the Northeast now. So many reels and all which were incomprehensible in our time. And when we started out, 1989, there was, you know, nobody even knew. When we used to go overseas to market ourselves, and they would say, where is this place? And what is it about? Is it safe? And we would say, we have a telex machine. You all don't know what a telex is. And they would be so impressed. These are like agents in US and all. Oh, we can talk to you on the telex. We were on the, you know, on the lightning calls and all stuff. But coming back to that, so then, when an unknown entity, and we were just a young couple, you know, a Tolua Protestant, I think, it's a homegrown company. Kintu, ami korbo parilu na, hekane, he to korbo lebo, and definitely I'm telling you, it's tourism for you all. Tourism and allied. Now, tourism isn't just one sector. Tourism is everything. It's your agribusiness, it's your piggery business, it's your handloom, it's your growing your own bamboo, everything, the way you live. Be that, and with this 5G connectivity, with this whole strong, interconnect with the world, the huge mobile penetration, all you have to do is tell your story. People want to come. And they want, but they need discipline. I'll tell you, we've had very young boys in the company. We've always tried to help, but they don't keep time. We lost an important international customer because we tried to believe in our boy. We always try to believe in our people. He was in Dibrugarh, and my husband told him, okay, you pick up this agent, this client from this hotel, and put him on the flight. The boy landed up late, more deri hoye gol. Client international flight miss kori dile. We had to pay that entire thing. Sorry, sir, boli koi thole gat lagi bolebo. You have to be ahead of time. Discipline, discipline, discipline. If you can formulate all that, promptness, politeness, knowledge, tourism is the answer. And it's a sustainable livelihood. If you're wherever you are from, if you can do that to your own region and promote your people, your wildlife, your history, your culture, you must know all that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, apuni sahokhor kotha kole. So, eta kotha apna moi khoribo bicharim ki eta apunar incident ta jodi apuni share kore jot apuni feel kore ki apunar sahokhor karone apuni eta dangor step eta ba kiba ta achieve korile. Please, ma'am. Because ma'am moi sahokhor kotha kini moi bahut bhal pao.
You must dare to dream. And you must dream big, so if you dream that much, you'll still get somewhere. But and you mustn't get so discouraged. And mental health seems to be a big problem nowadays. You'll give up so early. You only want success, but you can't face failures. We've had a lot of failures. And I haven't told you about our failures. But we have to, sometimes we think, why am I in this company, Jungle Travels? First 5 years is a mess. I had no business. I didn't need to really work. I could have stayed at home or been a kitty party. Or, 20 years, I've never had a siesta in my life. I am retired, and not retired, but still working. But, now our team. And when you grow your company, we don't micromanage them any longer. That is why from 3 staff, we have 300 people. And they're all stakeholders in our growing thing. And each of them matter. Everyone matters. If you give them the respect, they also give it back to you. So what is your interest? You have to start dreaming, start asking questions. What do you plan to do? Are you thinking about that?
Ma'am, actually not yet. But for sure, ma'am, আজি আপোনালোকৰ কথা পাতি মানে ভাল লাগিলে কি আমি মই ইয়াৰ পিছত নিশ্চয় ইয়াৰ বিষয়ে কিবা এটা ভাবা আৰম্ভ কৰিম। Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
অকল মই নহয় গোটেইখিনিয়ে মেম আপোনাৰ লগত কথা পাতি আজি বহুত ভাল পালে। Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All the best to all of you. God bless.
Thank you so much, madam, for the absolutely inspiring address. Your journey and dedication to social transformation through tourism and handloom truly leave us with so much to reflect upon. As we come to the end of today's session, I would like to take a moment to thank everyone who made this day truly special. A heartfelt thank you to our esteemed guest, madam, for sharing her inspiring journey and powerful insight with us. Thanks also to our talented performers and everyone working behind the scenes to make this event a success. And of course, thank you to all of you, our dear students, for your attention, energy, and participation. Let's carry forward the inspiration we received today as we continue our Deeksharambh journey together. With this, we rest this session. I request all the students to be seated until we see off our guest. Students, can we have a huge round of applause for ma'am? Students, now you may leave for classroom. Make sure you go to classroom, your respective department. Volunteers, make sure the students leave one by one and there is no rush outside. I would also like to request, and there is an information for all of you, at 3 o'clock exactly in front of A block, there is an excitement, there is something very excited waiting for you. That's club registration. In our university, to be very active, to be very entertaining, to live a life full of university life, this institution, this infrastructure, you need to join a club. Make sure you join the best club. For literary activities, you may join Sigma Voice, the literary club. That is my club, actually. I'm the president of that club, that's why I'm pitching it for you. There is the president of Confluence Club. You may join Confluence for dance. There is also Health and Safety Club. If you want to be a part of management, you can join Health and Safety Club. If you want to do drama, you may join Royal Rangmanch Club. But make sure you join a club. And make sure you join Sigma Voice, the literary club. Thank you very much. The students may leave one by one. One by one. Do not rush. Volunteers, please make sure. One by one, you're making a rush. Please. Volunteers. And the students are directed to go to their department. Make sure your attendance is marked, because that's the most important thing, your attendance.